Everybody, welcome back to RMUS Tech Week. My name is Fraser. Thank you for joining us on today's session. In this session, we're going to be talking about drone in a box and DFR. This is something that at RMUS we really believe is the wave of the future, and so we've been investing heavily in our ability to bring this capability to all of our favorite clients and partners everywhere. Today, I'm joined by Santiago from Votix and by Kurt from Hextronics. Santiago, can you just take a moment and introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me today. My name is Santiago Echeverri. I'm the CCO of Votix, Drone Orchestration and Automation.
Awesome. And you, please, Kurt?
Yeah, sure thing. How's everyone doing? It's Kurt Larry from the team at Hextronics. We're excited to talk to you all today. Always a good day to you, Fraser. I'm calling in from sunny South Florida in Miami. So I'm excited to be here.
Great. Well, it's raining here, so I'm a little jealous, but thank you for that, Kurt. Okay, drone in a box and DFR. Big topic. Obviously, lots of implications to this. What is really the single most meaningful reason why someone would want to adopt this, guys?
Yeah, sure thing. I can start. DFR is an extremely beneficial capability that kind of any police force will need to have, or will really help the operators on the ground. They'll be able to respond to 911 calls being tied into the dispatch system and give eyes on the scene to the operators on the ground, as well as for the operators back in the command center, and really provide a wealth of evidence and understanding for what's going on in a situation. I think it's really something that's going to be critical and a game changer to enabling kind of cities of the future that are extremely secure, safe, and ensuring that everyone knows what's going on when it's a really, really critical time.
And from my side, I wanted to say it's super critical to have an orchestration software like ours, because not only you're going to be able to have a platform to manage all your fleet, regardless of the drone, regardless of the boxes or hardware that you have, because not drone does it all. You're going to be able to have also everything segregated with a chain of custody within a single platform, so you can use everything from the same place instead of having 12 different platforms to have, of course, capabilities like we offer.
Good stuff. So we've got hardware that basically gets eyes on the scene really quickly, and we've got software platforms that allow proper documentation and chain of custody of this. So really important stuff. Let's dive a little bit deeper into those pieces. So can we see the slide on the tech stack? Right, so okay, so here are really the pieces of that. I actually can't read that from over here. Perfect. Okay, thank you. Okay, so on the hardware side, we have, of course, the drone. There's a variety of drones we can employ depending on the dock we're using. This is obviously a critical piece. It's what carries the sensor to where it needs to go. The dock or nest, we have more and more options all the time in the marketplace now. We're going to be looking at a couple of examples today. In particular, these are going to be some NDA compliant drone and dock options, which, of course, if we're talking about DFR, for many organizations, that's going to be sort of a critical piece of the puzzle here. Payloads, again, the drones and nests we have available are going to give us lots of different options for payloads to carry with us to the scene. We need to think about the C2 link. Again, we're installing the nests at a permanent location. That's sort of the whole concept here. And so we do need to think carefully about that C2 link. The placement of the docks, or at least the antennas, needs to be considered very carefully, or we need to think about employing maybe LTE for the C2 link. In many jurisdictions, detect and avoid is going to be a critical piece of any DFR employment, because we need BVLOS certification to be able to do this effectively. So that's really the long-term goal, is to have the BVLOS capability. And so in many places, some form of detect and avoid is going to be critical to ensuring we do get that BVLOS capability. And at the moment, that's probably going to mean ground-based systems. We do have some. We do have some airborne systems that are possible. However, we're unlikely to be able to carry those on most aircraft that we're pulling out of docks for now. Thank you, Ariel. So on the software side, we need. Sorry, guys. On the software side, we need something that's going to enable remote operations. So that is really the drone orchestration, mission planning piece of this. Of course, any software we're going to employ is going to require that we stream video in real time. And then ultimately, we may want some AI image analysis to get things like real-time facial recognition, identification of people, automatic highlight, possible tracking of vehicles, counting individuals, things of that nature. We're also, of course, going to have a new training and maintenance component for this, because we're employing systems in a new way. It's really a new paradigm for operating drone systems, and so there will be new pieces to both of those aspects. Santiago, I guess I'll ask you on the training side. We like Votix. I know Votix is very capable, but it's also pretty user-friendly. How have you guys found so far that this training piece goes? Is it really a big demand, or is that so far fairly easy for people to adopt?
Thank you for the question. It's actually fairly easy for the people to adopt it. We have a very robust platform that is very user-friendly, as you were mentioning. So training is a little bit long because there's more than 400 features within our software. There is a lot of compliances, a lot of checklists that you need to run through at the beginning. Once you get a hang of it, it's super simple, super easy, but yet super powerful. So I will say it's fairly simple, yes.
Awesome. That's good to hear, although it's not a surprise. Like I said, we've worked with Votix for a while, and we really do like how easy to use it is. Kurt, I'll ask you about this. So maintenance is a little bit different, obviously, with permanently installed systems. We need to think about possibly mobile maintenance services rather than bringing or shipping drones back to a central location, because we do have, in some cases, pretty large devices installed permanently on rooftops or other remote locations that may not be easy to access. So again, our experience with Hextronics hardware has been great, but how are you seeing people address this so far?
So it's not unlike servicing HVAC, package HVAC on the rooftop of a building. Actually, sometimes they install it and it really fits in right next to one of those rooftop mounted package HVAC units. And so definitely with service, it comes with how frequent the use is, right? We recommend a service once every 500 to 1,000 flights, and that's really to check on the drone, ensure the health of the batteries, and really just make sure the system is at full operational capacity with all of the batteries stored well within it. Inside the system too, we do have a variety of different environmental protections wherein we protect it from rain, dust, snow, any kind of heat or bad weather is kind of taken away by our HVAC system that we have within the unit, of which circulates air, filters out any unwanted particles, as well as performs cooling and heating, and that creates up to a 40 degree temperature differential. And so those components together really enable for the best experience with a system that's deployed for the long haul. And that's why we built the Atlas and the Universal like a tank, so that they can withstand a lot of the different environments that they get deployed at. And so, yeah, that's how they're currently being operated and maintained across the world today.
Cool. And so I like your comparison with an HVAC system because in some cases, these devices are going to need to be craned onto a roof. And if you're hiring a crane service to lift this onto the roof, don't tell them it's an autonomous draw-in-a-box system. Maybe just tell them it is a crated HVAC system. And anyway, we think you'll get a better deal.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to dive into a bit of a closer look at Votix system. And I think we're going to see a live demonstration of that. So Santiago, I'll turn it over to you for a few minutes and let's see that, please.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me just start sharing my screen here. Let me know, guys, if you can see it from there. 1 second. I will go into this screen and let me know when you guys can see it.
We do see
Can
that.
you see my screen right now?
Yep, all good.
Okay, perfect. So here is the landing page that we have at Votix. This is where you're gonna find your whole fleet, everything that is being used within your drones and boxes and devices are gonna appear here on the map. So on the last time that you flew it, even if one is flying live, you're gonna be able to see it from here. So you'll see all the devices on the top right corner. You'll see any open missions if they're happening at the moment, and also zones and different multiple missions that you have within your agency. So here we have our main 3 different products that we have. One that we call Manage, second one that we call Stream, third one that we call Fly, which is pretty much everything in a bundle. So you can have these standalone pieces, manage and streaming. On the management part, you have everything that happens before and after the operation. So think about Votix, as I was mentioning, our slogan is drone orchestration and automation. So think about us and see us as a symphony conductor for your drone operations. So you know there's a lot of moving parts and you need a symphony conductor right in the middle, just at the core of the operation, managing everything that is happening before, during, and after the operation. That's what Votix is right now. So on the management part, on the before the operations, you have everything that is within the planning, meaning that you can create checklists for pre-flight checklists. You can create in-mission checklists as well as post-flight. You also have, of course, zones. We have the ability to 3D geofence any type of drone that even not natively are being able to do this, like DJI, for example, where you're going to be able to create multiple zones as easy as just here. Let me show you an example. Just selecting a country. Let's do Canada, for example. I'll do Mississauga for RMUS, and I'll create a zone RMUS 01 because I already have one created. All you have to enter here is your minimum altitude or your maximum height, and then you can go from there. So let's do 350 feet as a maximum height. The minimum elevation, let's leave it at 0. And then from there, you will be able to start creating a zone. So you have the map of the city that you selected. You can either browse through the map or, of course, enter an address here. So I'll do RMUS here in Mississauga. I found it there. So let's say we wanted to fly this area here. All I have to do is start creating my polygon. And then as easy as that, I will have a 3D geofence where I have a maximum ceiling that I mentioned. It was going to be 350 feet or 200, 250, 400, anything that you're required to by law keep there. And then a minimum floor that you can also have for at 0. At this, in this case, I live there at 0, but you can also have it as a minimum floor that is above any obstacle that you have around the area that you're going to be flying at. So from here, you will be able to create multiple things. You can have the 3D geofence. You can have what we call rally points, which are pretty much safe landing places for the drone to land. This is super interesting for beyond visual line of sight flights, because you will be able to have multiple safe landing spots in order to, in case you have an emergency and a fail-safe action, so you can return to that place faster. I'll just leave this zone as of there, and I will come back to create a mission right now. So I'll go back to the mission planning, manage missions, and then in this case, I will use the zone that I have pre-created before with RMUS, and I'll call it RMUS 01. Select the country, which is Canada, and then the city, as well as the zone. So use one that I created before, and we will be able to select multiple things from here. So you can create linear missions. You can also create grid missions for photogrammetry, but you can also create on-the-go missions for DFR, and I'll show you these in a second. So here is just regular missions for surveillance or grid or photogrammetries. You can pretty much select the aircraft from here. Let's say we're going to fly a Mavic 3 thermal with the camera of the Mavic 3 thermal, of course, and then start a waypoint selection. So all you have to do is click wherever you want to have the waypoints at, and then you have multiple actions that you will be able to create within each individual waypoint. Super simple, super easy, easy to do, very user-friendly. You will be able to have, let's say, gimbal pitch at 45 degrees and then take a picture, have a point of interest, for example, right in the middle here, where the drone is going to be looking at this place instead of looking towards the waypoint line. And you can also have map annotations. These are super important when you're doing inspections or you have to note anything for your pilots, since you can have a planner, then pilot, or you just want to remind yourself later on where to go and what to do when you get to this specific place. So let's say there is a warehouse here and you need to remind your pilot or yourself that you have to take a picture or do something specific here. You can just simply write it down here. I'll just put test and then save that map annotation. So whenever you're running this mission or your pilots are running these missions, they know what to do when they get to this specific place. They have little notes around the map. You can also do grids and photogrammetries from here. I will just continue quickly because of time to where we have everything else. So we have the checklist. We also have, of course, the calendar. So that being done, the missions and the zones being created already, you will have a calendar where you can automate all these missions. You can do them manually. So you can say, I want these couple of pilots that I have to run these missions for this month, for this year, and then put them here on the calendar. So all they have to do is join the calendar and see what's assigned to them, and then reproduce the missions from there without even having to plan it. Or of course, when we're talking about drone in a box systems, like the ones from Hextronics, you're gonna be able to automate that part from here, selecting when do you want this to start. So let's say I wanna create a mission that starts next Monday and it goes all the way to Friday, and I want it to happen every day at this specific time for, let's say, 15 minutes at a time that is, what time is it right now? 2:19 p.m. So that time. And then I want to repeat it every time, every hour, for example, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. And then just have it here, select the mission, the zone, of course, the box and the drone. Forget about this, and then everything is going to happen by itself. Of course, you have to count to take into consideration all the certifications and BVLOS approvals and compliances that you need to have in order to use this. But that's how you use it at full scale if you wanted to create pre-planned missions and put them on a calendar. So it's as simple as that. It's very user-friendly, very easy to use. We also have the fleet management, where you're going to be able to see all your drones or your equipment. I'll jump into that in a second. Here we also have what we call the operational dashboard, This is pretty much a ledger of the whole operation that you have been doing within your agency. So here we're going to be able to see how many flights have you done, how many hours, what's the distance that you have flown. You can filter here using per pilot, per zone, mission, drone, and of course per time. So let's say how many flights did I do last month, last year. I will be able to segregate everything here, and as easy as a click, I can just create a PDF file report or a presentation on PowerPoint report to be able to provide these to anybody that requires the report, including an audit, for example. So this is we're using Power BI here. It is super powerful. This is a tool that many companies and corporations are using in the enterprise level, and it's so user-friendly for them because they know they've been using this for years too within their organization. So it's fairly customizable as well, so we can do some customizations. Not only you can see everything within your program, but you can also go inside of each specific flight, which is what we call mission history. So on the mission history, I can just put here one that I did in Canada specifically, and then take a look and see a summary here, where we're going to be able to just as easy as that with 2 clicks as well, see when this happened, who was the one flying, what was the drone that was used, what was the flight that was actually done here. So we took off, we did this path, and then we landed, we took a couple of pictures. Everything gets encrypted, deleted from the drone after landing, and uploaded with a chain of custody within our software. So only the people within your agency that has that chain of custody and that access, they will be able to see what was collected. Not only the pilots, maybe you have some pilots that don't need to have the evidence or the collected data and have access to that, but instead just, let's say, the managers of the organization or the chief pilot will be able to see this. So you can segregate those accesses and play with multiple chain of custody within your organization. Not only you get this, but you're also going to be able to upload multiple information that was collected. So let's say you not only took these 4 pictures, but you have a written report or a video that you collected with your cell phone, and you want to make it part of this operation. And all you have to do here is upload these videos, pictures, or additional files into the operation and see that from there. We have capabilities for streaming. So if you were streaming during this time, and then people connected to your streaming, you have a stream summary where you're going to be able to understand who was the one connected, for how long, how many minutes were connected, were they connected, as well as the black box data of the drone. So the flight analysis, as I was showing before, the whole agency. This time I'm going to show you that specific flight, for example. So you have a lot of different data that is very important for the operations, including the speed during the flight, the height, all the graphs that you can create you can make in a report as a PDF file, as I was mentioning before, as well as understanding how many cycles does your battery have and your drones have. So in case you need to change that, so you're gonna see how many times you charge the drone. You can also see the satellites and everything from the equipment, as well as the pilot in command, and the certification and everything that was approved for that specific flight. I'm not gonna go into those details right now. On the streaming part, you will be able to have a multi-streaming console like this one, where you can have more than 4, of course, drones at the same time. So we have our own video management system where you're going to be able to do and oversee these operations. So you can oversee what's going on with your drones from displays or from multiple tabs on your browser, as well as something that is very powerful from our side that nobody else has at the moment, which is RTSP and RTSPS streaming. We have that capability. So if you're running DFR, for example, we'll be able to send you towards RTSP and RTSPS the streaming feed from the drones directly into your video management system, where you might have already AI integrated into it. We also have our own AI that you can use with us, but we give that flexibility to work in collaboration. This time, I think I'm going to jump into the live operation just because of time. let me just go back to this screen here. Let me stop the sharing, and I will be sharing a different screen. So give me a couple of seconds, please. Let me just go into window monitoring. This one here. Okay, let me just coordinate with the people on site that everything is good to go. I think we have bad weather right now at the place. It is raining and we're gonna fly a Mavic 3, so we won't be able to do it, unfortunately. Kurt, I think I'll pass it to you then. This was gonna be with a universal Mavic 3 thermal station. We're also gonna do a live demonstration using the same kind of setup, but with the Atlas. So I'll pass it over to Kurt and we can do the flight there with him instead.
All right, sounds good. Yep, thank you, Santi. Definitely would like to talk a bit more, about the Universal. So on site, the Universal is rated to withstand quite a significant amount of harsh weather conditions, but definitely the drone in play needs to be able to withstand those difficult conditions as well. And so typically the Nest does integrate with a few weather sensors, and there are different ways that you can set predefined thresholds for weather that is acceptable for takeoff. And so one kind of key critical part of this is for DFR, you need to always launch. If there's a bank robbery or something happening, you need to be able to get on scene, even if there is a little bit of rain or precipitation or snow. And so what we can show today is the Atlas built for the M300, M350, a tank that can take quite a wide variety of weather conditions. And I'll start sharing my screen right now. Lucky for us, we're flying out of sunny South Florida, and so it's quite a perfect time of year to do flights out of here. Let's see. Can everyone share my screen? I'm also going to be flying through the Votix platform. They got the Hextronics team set up with our account. And so today we'll be flying from Hex Labs, pretty much the garage where we started this whole journey. And from here, I'll just get ready to start a mission that we've got set up already. So this would be kind of like a patrol mission if you're doing patrol-led DFR. And then we'll work to basically see an example of what happens if you need to take control mid-mission. So here we're going. And so we've got a team on site right now that is at the site because they're the visual observer down here. We're working to get a full BVLOS waiver for the site. But for instance, here's a stream provided by the Atlas that shows exactly what's going on within the unit. And so you can see the arms coming on right now, turning on and preparing the drone for launch. And the team does confirm the weather is good for today. And so we'll get ready to prepare this drone. So this is how a typical mission begins. In many cases, for DFR type deployments, the drone will always want to be on so that you've got pretty much the most rapid time for launch. And so with the Atlas, we do provide the capability for a hot swap mode that keeps the drone constantly on just by hot swapping the batteries, as if you were just going to have somebody on the roof right there, making sure the drone's always ready to go. And so in many DFR applications, currently today across at least the US that I know of, they do have teams on rooftops kind of constantly sitting there ready for the drone to, or ready for any kind of command or signal to launch to a location. So yep, we've got the video stream, everything's initiated, and so we're all ready to start a mission. I'm going to enter the cockpit. And so from down here, we'll be able to maintain that view. and I'm just going to simply start the mission. And so you can see the roof is opening, and now we can see the great outdoors. This is kind of in the jungles of Miami. Some call it the jungle. It's also Homestead. It's quite a nice area for farmland. So a lot of the missions that we do actually have to relate with some agricultural data gathering as well as 3D mapping with the drone and different payloads. Since the M300 and M350 can support payloads like the H20, the H20T, the P1, and a wide variety of other camera systems, it's quite significant what this drone can do for a variety of different applications. And so prior to takeoff, the drone always waits until it has a significant amount of GPS signals so that it carefully understands its home point, it sets its location, and all through Votix, it coordinates exactly how the mission should take place on the routine and how it should return back to home safely. And so once we cross that threshold for satellites, we'll be ready for takeoff, and the drone will begin the mission. As you can see, this whole kind of process has been hands off from my end. I just clicked start mission, and drone was booted up, brought to the takeoff location, is gaining satellites, and then soon will perform its takeoff and mission routines. And from there, just like how Santi showed, kind of planning a mission. This is essentially the mission that we've got set up right now. And so at this mission, we've got a variety of different waypoints and actions, and you'll see the drone pretty much form all of them. Oh, here we go for takeoff. And looks like we're good to go. All right, so the threshold there was 15 satellites. That's one that we preset and found is the best configured from recommendations across the board. Typically, the satellites are gotten a bit quicker when you're in more urban environments, but because we're in somewhat of a rural area and covered with a lot of trees, it does take a bit more time. And so I'm going to let at least the first part of the mission play out so you can see how the camera is all gimbaled according to different processes within the mission. You can see the nest is all closed up. And so then at each different waypoint, the gimbal orients itself based on the preset program, and then the camera initiates an image capture at the particular locations that we set in that mission. Looks like we've got a wider variety of plants coming up this year. They're planted half the field out back. It looks like they're plowing it, ready for a new, ready for harvest soon. And so you can see with even quite significant tree coverage and blockage, the cell signal and the communication back to that remote controller is able to bypass quite a large amount of blockage from trees or buildings or other such kind of hindrances. Let me hide this little thing. All right, and so we're coming near the end of the mission, but let's just say that right at this point here, hey, I saw something kind of weird out of the edge of the view, and I'm gonna go inspect it. And so I'm pretty much going to go turn over into video mode to get a closer look, and we can go in and actually look at some of the things happening in the field. And so with this, currently, I believe we've got the H20 camera on this, and we've got the capability to really use to the maximum capability the zoom on the camera. And so this is a little over half zoom, and we're able to see some details on the plants there. We're able to do an investigation into some more of the scenery nearby. Even I believe we can go track some of the vehicles in the distance. I don't want to spy too much on my neighbors, but in a typical kind of search and rescue type application, you'd really want to be able to get the best view from any site point. And so Votix makes that process really easily, and I know that you're able to connect a controller so that you can really feel kind of the best user workflows, right? Just like how you'd be playing Xbox. And so, I mean, most of y'all watching are familiar with this zoom capability. I believe we can see a license plate from well over 1,000 feet away. And from that, it really makes it very valuable for kind of detecting who's in which location and making sure that you've got eyes on the scene and can zoom in whenever you need to. But let's just say that for the time being, we resolved our 911 call and it's time to return home. So I'm just going to return home from the patrol and the nest will open up and prepare for landing.
The important that I wanted to add there while we're landing, Kurt, is that we have also the ability to run or do missions on the go. So you don't have to have everything pre-planned. When it comes to DFR, there's nothing pre-planned anyways, right? You get a 911 call and there's a new location every time, new scenario. It's super easy and quick to do with Votix. All you have to do is enter the address provided on the call, and that's it. Then the drone is going to climb to a safe flight altitude that you predefined before, that you can predefine at any given moment. And then the drone is going to go to that location using that address and giving you access to the sensor and anything on board before even getting there. So it's a call that you're going to be able to get to as quick as 50 to 95 seconds, depending on the place where you are located. So don't think about just pre-planned missions. Of course, that doesn't exist on the DFR place or arena, but we can also have DFR quick missions on the go.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really great point. Thanks, Santiago. So we've seen mission planning. We've seen the execution of a pre-planned mission, and we saw Kurt take over and fly manually. And with Votix, we have the ability to do a go-to address function. So guys, let's talk a little bit about what types of use cases we might want to employ pre-planned missions, when we're going to be doing strictly or mostly manual flight. What are you guys seeing so far?
Mm-hmm.
Can you repeat the question, please, Fraser?
Yeah. I can talk to it for a point. For most of our users, at least, that are using it for kind of industrial inspection and patrol-led DFR, they're all pre-planned missions with kind of particular points that need to be kind of checked on every mission. So for instance, you can see right here, it's downloading all of the images that were taken during this mission at those predefined kind of POI points. And then once that's done, the drone basically completes its process. The mission is over, and then it's back down and ready for a battery swap. And yep, so then any kind of DFR led missions, I'll let Santiago talk about a bit more the launch to location capabilities. It's essentially what we just saw with the mission feature. And from there, essentially, yeah, go ahead, Santi. You can talk about the launch to location and how to action that from your dashboard. I'll bring in another camera angle now that will show the kind of battery swap process as you go ahead.
Absolutely. So yeah, so it's very user friendly, as I was mentioning. We actually kind of have something in our mind, which is making everything as easy as possible. If you're 3 clicks away to do something, I think you're too far away. On our vision, it's more 1 or 2 clicks away to doing any action. So you're 1 or 2 clicks away to actually launching a mission right away by entering an address and telling the drone to go, and then it's gonna go fly and do the mission. Of course, you can have predefined geofences on the go as well. So let's say you have a COA of 2 nautical miles from a rooftop, and you have it predefined within your map. So whenever you're launching that go to location or go to mission, it never exceeds that that COA or BVLOS approval that you have in terms of DFR. So it's as simple as just entering the address, or even better, if you have already the drone in the air and you have to attend to multiple calls, you can prioritize different addresses. So let's say you have to go to address 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the way going there, it de-escalated already, and you had to send the drone somewhere else. You don't have to do anything other than just entering the new address. The drone is going to stop and pause what it's doing and then go to the next location right after. You can also use a go-to location with the map. So if you don't have the address, but you know the intersection, or you know where to place your mouse within the map, you will be able to also send a go-to location just by using the map capabilities and having the drone going to that place right away. Once you get to that place, and even before getting to that place, you have full command and control over the sensor and over the drone. You can stop the drone at any given moment to take control over it and then continue what it was doing. And something that is super important too is that at the end, everything that gets collected gets uploaded with a chain of custody and then deleted from the drone. So there is nothing remaining as evidence within the drone. So if the drone goes down or somebody gets hands on the drone, they won't be able to get the critical information that was captured through it. That's a very important point too.
Mm-hmm. Great. So we're getting some pretty good questions from the audience. So please keep those coming in, guys. As we get towards the end of the session, we're going to answer some of those. For now, a few of the questions we've got can be answered by Kurt. So Kurt, just can you walk us through the types of hardware available from Hextronics right now? What drones we can use in those nests, and whatever other detail you want to provide about your hardware.
Sure. Let me really quick here. I'll bring a quick little video to show a little bit more about it. It'll be basically showing how we've got the Atlas and the Universal. This is essentially what we just demoed today, and we'll bring the Universal into it as well. So this is what it looks like to start a mission from the Universal. And this, you can fly the Mavic 3. So what you just saw there was the Mavic 3, the Anafi AI, as well as the Anafi USA out of the Universal Nest. And then out of the Atlas, we've got the M300 and the M350. And soon we're working with the team at Inspired Flight, which is a very similar aircraft that is completely blue listed and capable of residing within that nest as well. Okay, we might play this a little bit later, but that's what we've got for the Nest compatibility in the Atlas and the Universal.
And can you comment on the weather tolerance of both those systems?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Both of those systems are built to withstand harsh rain conditions as well as high dust conditions as well. Both of them have been weather tested in our environment in South Florida at Hex Labs, we call it, of which it does rain. It gets pretty hot down here in South Florida, as well as we've been in sub-zero conditions in places such as Minnesota in the States, where it's gotten to negative 25 degrees and still withstood the environmental conditions. And so we've got a wide range of operating temperatures as well as operating environmental conditions.
Awesome. And can you tell us a little bit about the battery charging capabilities or options with the Universal and the Atlas?
Sure. So the Atlas is set up to do battery swapping for those drones, the M300, M350. It holds 4 pairs of batteries, so that's 8 total. And we've got the standard DJI charger within that unit. So it's all basically charged exactly as it was made to be. And then in the Universal, we've got options for charging and swapping of those drones. And so depending on which drone and which configuration, the Mavic 3, we enable both charging and swapping of that. charging takes about 60 minutes or so to get from a full 0 to 100, and then the swap time on a Mavic 3 is under 3 minutes for the entire process. And that's similar with the Anafi USA, and currently the Anafi AI only has charging availability.
And so why would I want to swap batteries instead of charge batteries inside a drone nest?
Sure. Well, particularly for DFR type applications, you won't really want to maximize your fleet. Currently, how many DFR operations work to date is they've got individuals, say, on the scene, on the rooftop, really interfacing with that drone at all times. So it's always ready to go for the next call. And so even if you have multiple drones, typically you want to get the most utility out of them, because, hey, you might have a call in one part of town where it sends one drone and a call in another part of town, and you never want to really have a drone that's kind of just sitting there waiting to go, because with a battery swapping nest, you really get over 100% the flight time basically within an hour, and on top of that, it ensures that you've always got a drone ready to go, and you don't have any that are kind of just sitting there waiting.
Makes sense to me. Okay, thanks. Guys in the audience, please keep the questions coming. There's some great ones here. We're going to get to those pretty shortly. So Kurt and Santiago, thanks for those demonstrations and walkthroughs of your system. That's really exciting stuff. Are there any last things you want to mention about Votix or about Hextronics?
I wanted to mention some. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say it's been a pleasure working with the Votix team. They're extremely quick, and I know how they're capable of really building out full-fledged solutions for enterprises and departments and agencies. It's one of the most talented teams that we've worked with, and it's really great how kind of comprehensive they've been when integrating full stack Hextronics. So yeah, it's a pleasure working with you and the guys at Votix, Santiago.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Kurt. Thank you
We've
very
had
much
a
for
great
that.
experience with Votix, including the support that we get from those guys. So thanks as always, Santiago.
Thank you for the great comments. It's been a pleasure working with you guys as well. I wanted to mention also that Votix is not only agnostic to, as you saw, the hardware with the drones that fly, but also with robots. So let's say we can have the whole orchestration for the whole entire operation of your drones, meaning rovers, dogs, submarines, boats, and of course the conventional UAVs as we were presenting today. So take that into consideration too, that we can also be the orchestrator in the air, water, and also terrain on the ground. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this also about Hextronics. Their systems are NDA compliant. If you are an organization that's not able to work with made in China systems and you're interested in DFR or employing drone in a box for any other application, as far as things that work well today and you could buy now that are NDA compliant, Hextronics is really the option you should be looking at.
All right. Yep. Well, it's been a pleasure having us, Fraser. Thank you and the team at RMUS Canada.
Thanks, Kurt. It's been good having you guys. Let's just answer a few questions from the audience here because we do have some good ones. If anyone else listening has more, please go ahead and send them in. We have a question here about dock mounting location. Can it be dynamic, mounted to a moving platform? Short answer is yes, with a caveat. Generally, there is a very short configuration process for a dock at new locations. So in that sense, yes, they can be moved as needed. They cannot be operated on the move. Is there anything you want to add to that, Kurt?
Yeah, so I can talk. So typically, so the universal we built to basically be roof mountable onto a moving vehicle. So onto a truck, for instance, you can have it like on a roof rack, kind of like as you would see a storage box is mounted up there. But yeah, we do like it when we take off and land at a non-moving location. So yeah, as long as you don't just take off when you're cruising down the freeway at 75 or something. That's how it's preferred to be operated. Is park, get on location, and clear it off with the crew. That's the pilot prior to just taking off on the go.
Okay, great. So, Kurt, you did comment on the weather tolerance of the systems. Do you have an IP rating for those?
Sure. We're anticipating the full IP rating to come through this quarter, but many of our systems have been worn and well tested and proven in some extremely difficult conditions. So they'll hold up right now, and then we'll be able to apply that IP rating certification this quarter.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, we don't have any other questions from the audience. Oh, wait, we do. Is it possible to take off and land while a vehicle is moving slowly? Kurt, I'll let you answer this one.
Let's just
and why or why not?
Yeah, let's just park. Come on, it's new. Let's maybe in like version 2 or 3, we'll have 15 mile per hour or something speeds that you can launch at. But for now, let's just launch and be parked. All right. I don't want any surprises or giving Votix a hard time when they're precision landing.
Yeah. Okay. And let's talk about why. The drone needs to go back to a home location, which is a set of GPS coordinates. And from there, it's going to do a precision landing on the dock using a visual graphic printed inside the dock. And so for now, let's not try to do that on the move, but we hope that capability is available in the near future. Probably just a couple of months, right, Kurt? Maybe weeks.
Yeah, we'll do OTA update should be able to do it.
Right.
I wanted to mention something there. Not on the move as I were mentioning right now, but what you can do is, even though your home position is set up before taking off, so the drone is going to try to come back home where it took off from, within Votix, you have the ability to change that home position, not on the go, but previously. So if you're planning to have your drone taking off from a station and then going to a different station or driving all the way down to a different position, you can actually set that up within the mission. And then once the drone finishes the mission, it's going to be coming back home to the new home location that you have previously recorded there, and do the precision landing with the stationary station at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, precisely.
Exciting. Okay, we have an interesting comment here. Same way vehicles come with cell phone charging, they should come with drone docking stations. Will Hextronics push to make this a reality? So, Kurt, obviously, right from the get-go, you foresaw the possibility of installing docks on vehicles and charging there, either battery swapping or charging. What do you think about that?
I'm not saying that any new Cybertruck add-on is coming soon, but I do think that eventually for police cruisers and pretty much inspection vehicles, having a drone on board may become a standard add-on that you can purchase at the dealership or even once you're ordering the car online. And so we're definitely open to having those conversations with select vehicle manufacturers. And for the time being, we're really just working to make a very solid and powerful solution so that as that time comes closer, we'll really be able to bring the most powerful systems to vehicles of today.
Very cool. So we are absolutely seeing that happen on military vehicles and some public safety vehicles. Certainly, we've seen it with fire trucks so far. Whether these drones are tethered or docked in a nest, that absolutely will happen, probably sometime in the near future. So very exciting stuff. Big thank you to both Santiago and Kurt, and to the entire audience for listening today. If you are interested in exploring Drone in a Box or DFR, please do reach out to RMUS. We're very eager to try to demonstrate this for you, maybe even do a sort of in-depth proof of concept if you've got a particularly interesting scenario or use case that you want to explore. Okay, we've got lots more exciting stuff on Tech Week in the next few days. Please make sure you check that out as well. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Fraser.
Have a good one. Goodbye.